Hey, what's going on, gamers? How's everyone doing? Welcome to Embers of History. In this series, we basically go over the prior accounts of World v. World battles, whether in wins or losses. We just kind of go through, we kind of analyze what we could have done better or what could have been done better. Not necessarily we, but what could have been done better, what to look out for. If you're interested in getting into World v. World, I don't think it's ever too late. In fact, I would actually rather encourage it, because it is, I think it's a good experience, and the rewards there are worthwhile. And yeah, so let's transition over to our first clip. All right, so we're kind of just jumping right into this. This is going to be very reminiscent of some of the previous clips. A lot of the footage that was taken here was kind of in the same session. So from episode 1 to 2, you're going to see some of the similarities between the two, you know, all that. So here we are again, same situation that you may have remembered if you've seen episode 1. We had a similar setup here where everyone on the red side's kind of gathered on the corner of the room here, and we're trying to look to try to poke and maybe move in, or they might move in on us. Right now everyone's just kind of getting ready. We're gonna keep going here. So there's, okay, so they moved in. So red moved in, and then the idea here, and white tag's over here. Now I recognized immediately that we were gonna get wiped just from the get-go. And this is mostly just from what took place in the previous engagements. And I knew for a fact that this was probably going to be, you know, a wipe for sure. So I backed off here. But normally what you would want to do is you would want to stay on tag. And the idea here, even if I disagreed with the strat, clearly because I backed up, the idea here is to dodge through their initial damage to get to the other side of them, so that you can retaliate in return by dodging through their initial cooldowns. But that didn't go over too well, because you see all those downs there. That did not go over too well at all. And so at this point, I'm just kind of applying some pressure as much as I can. While, I mean, you look at this and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players within the vicinity, not including myself or the person right next to me. That's against, you know, a mob of, you know, probably 35 to 40 players in that group at least. And at that point, this is where you would want to try to break off and regroup, because at this point, like, you're just going to be a bag, you know. Now, I know that I've stated the terminology of you want to try to stay on tag as much as you possibly can, and you do. When you are broken up like that, I mean, at that point, it's just kind of like, all right, we recognize that we're broken up. It's a lost fight. You can either, you know, face the fact that you're going to be a bag, or you can try to escape if you can escape at that point. But the second your group starts to break, I mean, it's GG's. So right now what they're trying to do is they're trying to regroup here on the stairs. Now, I do find this play by the red to be very interesting because they could have very easily pushed into here and taken out the remainder of the group over here to the left. Now, it's possible. There are a couple of different possibilities of why this is the case. Number one is perhaps to get everything back off of cooldown. That's number one, just to get, you know, kind of group everybody together and get their cooldowns all reset. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two is that they didn't, because they expended a lot of their cooldowns, they didn't want to go from that into fighting on the stairs on top of, I believe, that Lord is ours, so contending with the Lord as well, and they didn't feel like putting up with all of that. Or in combination with possibility number three, let's just face it, sometimes groups like these, they just want to farm bags. You know, they want to farm the fights because they're more interested in the fights than they are capping objectives. So those are the three different possibilities. I'm leaning on they probably were farming more on the fight side of things, which is you know, that's a good possibility. So again, just off to the side here, applying some pressure. You know, I'm contributing to having them forced to use their cooldowns and their healing skills. Okay, so here they come. So remember that possibility I was talking about, because I'm reacting to this kind of in real time here. And again, I'm doing that on purpose because it gets you to these are the kinds of thoughts that that kind of go through you in a given moment. And I already have kind of a analytical nature to things, like just how I think about things. And so these are some of the thoughts that go through my mind when this is happening. So at this point, they probably they regrouped, they came over here to the stairs, and now, you know, probably most of their stuff is off cooldown. They're ready to take out the rest of Tag and everybody else. And I'm at a position here because I'm not over on Tag, but at this point now I'm split between that and red. Okay, well, Tag got knocked back to me. Okay, so this is another big thing right here. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, I am hard tunneling this down right here. The reason why I'm hard tunneling this down specifically and not throwing more damage in the group is because normally you would want to just focus the downs. If you focus the downs, you not only whittle off their numbers, but you can bring people back up. You know, and people can rally off of downed players. So focusing this down is crucial, even if it's just a single down. Everything that you do in a fight counts towards something. Everything you do. Some decisions, perhaps more important than others, but down contribution is crucial. You want to take out and farm the downs first, because if you don't farm the downs, then if you go down and they rally off of you, then their numbers just got back up. See that? You just see that right here? So that down got, I'll bring it back just a bit here. So we're gonna go back here. Now notice that someone on my team is down. Okay, this is exactly what I was talking about. We have a down over here. I immediately know that this down has to go. This down has to go. Now watch this guy in the lower left. Boom, he's rallied. That down got completed, he's rallied. That's another player back in the fight. So this is why it's like you come across downs, you want to focus the downs. Actually, you'll hear that a lot in commander comms, is that what they'll do is you'll do your initial spike damage and there'll be an initial amount of downs. You want to farm the downs first before you continue the fight. Farm the downs, farm the downs, farm the downs. So now I'm kind of where I needed to, where I kind of need to be. I'm in the group, I'm in the mob, we're fighting. Okay, so Lord is out because the ring is up. Okay, so you see the ring, you can see the green ring. That means the ring's up because the Lord's down. And I know a lot of you already know that, but for those who don't, that's what's up. Okay, so we've got lots of spike damage. And right there, broken. That initial spike damage. So we're gonna bring it back just a bit here. Okay, and I think honestly, I think if we bring it back a little bit more here, I think at this point right here, right there, that was my first cue of like, okay, we're about to get wiped. Now, this was my way of telling it, and also I'm so dialed in onto what's going on in front of me. Check out, look at the right hand side just above the map. We got more reds that are coming in. So if you factor in how small our group is, because remember, over in the upper left hand side of things, I'm sorry, upper right hand side, I'll have an arrow up there. On the upper right hand side of things, that's where red was, and we initially came in and tried to contend with red on the upper floor. We lost a few people on the upper floor. Then they tried to regroup back here at stairs with whatever numbers were remaining at the time. Red, waiting for their cooldowns to get off of cooldown, then moved in to secure, well, essentially their victory. And now at this point, this is just kind of a number game in favor of red, because not only do you have the red group here that the group is super focused on, but now you have additional red members coming in to reinforce the mob essentially. So I mean, at this point, if you were to look at this, like, the writing's on the wall. And so at this point right here, this is when I recognized, okay, this is going to be a lost fight. So I tried to attempt, because I'm using staff and playing Scav Catalyst and I can get some range damage, it's kind of a feeble attempt at trying to support the group. Look, you even got more red still piling in. And there, I mean, there you go. They're completely cleaned out. And at this point, I'm just poking the hornet's nest. Pointless. Absolutely pointless. I don't remember if... Oh, no, I think we skip ahead some. Yeah, I do the jump off because I jumped out. And that's what happened. All right, so just like kind of an important thing to know, I wanted to highlight that red mostly had a good numbers game, but red also, they came out on top because one, we made a bad move initially in the beginning when we tried to challenge them on the upper floor, and then we lost some, and then we tried to regroup, and you know, coming back from spawn, that's no joke. That takes a while to get back unless there's an emergency waypoint or EWP. And basically what that is it's a I call it a lever. There's a set of levers within a given territory that you pull those, and there's a waypoint. There are 3 waypoints actually that spawn in the location for you to make your way back. There was no EWP. So because there was no EWP, there was no way to reinforce our losses. And so it was just kind of it was a domino effect. Wins and losses, they'll happen on the battlefield, but don't let that, you know, discourage you. You know, it doesn't make you a bad player if you go into a group and you don't come out on top. It doesn't make you specifically a bad player. You know, there are lots of different factors that contributes to a larger group fight like that, but understanding what to look out for is important to keep in mind. And now we move on to clip number 2. Okay, so here we are, clip number 2 here. And we'll see red's kind of poking around in our territory right now. All right, so we got a red group. Now, I will say this much, like, just kind of notice the size of the red group. It's pretty significantly smaller to what in the previous clip here is. But they are still sizable enough to get into a fight. So here we go, we're already starting on the engagement. This guy he was just very bloodthirsty. He just kind of jumped in there. He was a little early. And you can get taken out doing stupid stuff like that. You know, this guy, he was just like, yo, you're coming with me. And then they were like, nah, we ain't having it. So he immediately got down there. Which you want to wait for. You want to wait for tag, okay? Wait for tag, wait to engage before you do that. Or if you are going to engage from range first is what I would recommend, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So, engagement begins. And this is actually a pretty clean engagement. Now, notice you see the red +3, okay? That means that red have taken out some of our members. You get you get points that get contributed to your overall skirmish score, and whenever you see that, that means that there are already players in this engagement. And I mean, if you look at how small their group was and how big our group is, the numbers are about roughly the even. You know, we have 28 out of 50 in our group, not including any of the green names here, because the green names are basically they're the roamers that are kind of, you know, out and about, and they're not contributing to the tally count up here on the upper left. Screen that. But you can see here, but like red, they've got it together here. Okay, they've got it together. They've already taken out a, you know, couple. They took out a couple here. We go back. I mean, you wouldn't think that a group like this can actually can do a lot. You'd be surprised. So this guy over here, I actually just noticed he's actually getting chased by a Reaper here. Yeah, he went down immediately Look at all that. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4 or 5. Yeah, there was at least 5 players that went down there initially on our team. Okay, so red, they've got it together here. So we're gonna kind of shift on over. So now we've kind of swapped sides. You know, everyone's jumped through their initial damage. This is a very common strategy that you'll see, is that oftentimes the mobs will go through each other and then they'll cross to the other side. And then they'll rinse and repeat here. And then so now what you're kind of seeing what Tag is doing, Tag is trying to circle around them to try to fish for their tail. And when you fish, you want to fish for their tail. Their tails, you know, that's kind of their weakest link right there. And if you can start chipping at their tail, they're going to lose numbers quickly. So right now, there's just a whole mob of stuff going on right now. Skills are going off, stuff's going off. Oops. So look at this, and then at this point, they're broken up. Now, let's go into why they kind of broke up here, because this is kind of crucial to understand here. So let's go back some, because they really started off pretty strong, because they initially, when this engagement began, they initially took out 4 or 5 immediately. Yeah, because you already see a couple of downs here, and they take out 1, 2, 3, 4. There was at least 4 people there that immediately got taken out, and they only had 1 person that got downed here. And so now what happened here is that because we continue to apply the pressure, and this is an often thing right here. So you got a few downs on their end. Now at this point, they're in trouble. When I say they, I mean red. Red's in trouble here because there's a lot happening, and they already burnt through their cooldowns on the initial wave, and now that our team, green, is right back on top of them, they want to try to get out of that. And when you try to move out of the situation like that, you create a tail, and when you create a tail, people in the back start getting taken out very easily, very quickly. And the more you move, the longer you make the tail. So assuming commander is somewhere up here, so they lay down their warrior elite skill, we lay down ours. Although this was kind of a bad placement. This wasn't on top of them, so they avoided the death bubble here. But look at how aggressive that they're moving too. They're trying to aggressively move back here. And it wiped them out. So this was a bit of a shorter clip. So we're throwing an extra clip here. So this is an extra clip that I'm just throwing in here to kind of compensate for the fact of the other clip. Here we go again, another set of reds. Notice how we're chipping at their tail right now. They're chipping at the tail, and then they try to recover here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it back again. So you know they're all trying to get to Tag, which assuming Tag is somewhere up ahead. And you've got all these red groups, and now this is just, you know, lack of coordination on their part. And, you know, we're kind of catching them lacking. So they're trying to make it back right now. They're trying to make it back. We're chipping at their tail. We're applying, you know, we got stability. We're pulling targets where we can. We're stun locking them if we can. We're CCing anybody out of place that we can, because the more you can take out, I mean, numbers game, hypothetically, the better your chances. So already, you know, there's several already taken out. By the time that they have to circle to engage, we've already got momentum. And so because we already had the momentum, they are now trying to compensate for that momentum, because look at here. If you look at where our tag is at, assuming that their tag is where our tag is at, look how many red players are away from their tag. I'm counting, I mean, kind of going up. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 players that are significantly out of position from their tag. And they're just trying to catch up. And at this point, they try to catch up, they're just going to walk into damage. Because what the often strat here is to walk through the initial. They like to cross. The groups like to cross paths. But if they can cross into something and then hold a position to do a lot of spike damage, and then farm that one spot, that's ideal. And look at this. So they're split. So we came in through the center, right? It's like we walked into the middle and nobody knows what's going on their team. It's like we walked through the middle, and look how many people, when our tag is going over to the right, look how many people are cut off on the left-hand side. And I'm talking about the reds. Look how many reds are cut off on the left-hand side. And then you've got people on the right-hand side that are still in engagement with with our group. But everybody here on the left, I mean, man, they are very likely done, because they are very well at position. Then they're going to try and run through all that damage just to get back on tag, which is not the smartest thing to do. Because look at all these walls and stuff. They tried to run through all that. They tried to run through all that, and they ate all that damage because they had no sustain or anything. So now at this point, we're just cleaning them up. So this one here, this particular fight, this was in our favor because we kind of caught them lacking and they were not as well coordinated. And because they weren't as well coordinated, I mean, that's just what happens. So let me know what you all think about this assessment. If you found it helpful, awesome. If you think that there is something that maybe I should address in future videos, be sure to drop a suggestion down in the comment section. If you like what you see, share it, give it a like, comment, you know, and want to be a pleb, but I'm also gonna just ask that you subscribe. So yeah, I just this is fun and exciting, and I like going over all that stuff. And yeah, so I'll leave you guys with another session of some magic juggling, and remember to say hi to your neighbor, be kind to one another, and that our Lord Jesus Christ is our only means of salvation. Till then, catch you guys in the next one.